I'm Lauren,
I'm Katie.
and we're the creators of Get Messy.
Get Messy is an art journaling membership community with a focus on creating and connecting with other artists. It's both for beginners and experienced art journalists.
This is our monthly interview series, Messy Conversations, where we talk to some of our favorite art journalers and have them share their talents, secrets, and inspiration with us.
Through these conversations, we hope that you'll learn more about art journaling and are encouraged to find your own style by seeing all the differences in the artists that we interview. We especially hope that you are inspired to make something.
If you would like to become a part of our community, go to getmessyartjournal.com or check us out on Instagram at getmessyartjournal.
So let's chat.
Hi guys, I'm Lauren.
I'm Kaylee.
And I'm Cait.
And we're the creators of Get Messy Art Journal, and this is Get Messy Conversations. And so we are here with Cait, who we are going to interview. She is an amazing artist, and she's actually on our creative team for Get Messy this year. And we have been so incredibly inspired by her. So we were really excited when she agreed to chat with us and share some of her amazing work with you guys. And so I'm going to let Cait introduce herself and tell us more about yourself, Cait.
Okay, hi. Yeah, my name is Cait Sherwood. I'm a mixed media artist living in Brookville, Maryland. And I live on my family's farm, so I also work there. And I have a studio here where I'm just making lots of mixed media paintings and also working into journals like I do with Get Messy. And yeah, just work. Right now I'm working towards my first gallery show, my first solo show. So I've been doing a lot of that and just a lot of art on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, this is so exciting about your show.
That is.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it's really awesome. I'm excited about it. But
Yeah. Are you freaking out?
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of scary too. Like
Yeah.
2 months, it's like I'm really going to be focused on that most of the time. And I know from experience, I just have to do it and see what happens. And I can't worry about it too much. But
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And so we'll post lots of pictures and links and everything for how you can find Cait and see stuff from her show down in the show notes so that you can connect with her and see her other work. And we'll see how your show goes. So we're so excited about that for you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cait, will you tell us a little bit about how you got started with art journaling?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I started art journaling when I was a teenager, and I don't really know why. I took like a class on like a collage art retreat I went to with my mom, and I feel like that really opened my eyes to a lot of things, and just like and she had a lot of art journals there, and I kind of got into it there. But 2015, I started art journaling every day, and that really kind of changed the momentum of it. And I started taking it a lot more seriously because I started seeing how much it was affecting my work and how much healthier I felt artistically when I was art journaling each day.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So your mom took you to a retreat then, so you'd say like your family's quite supportive and
Oh yeah, my mom is actually an artist also, so a couple of times we've gone together to like these classes and things.
oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That is really fun.
Mhm.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how has sharing your art journals impacted you or affected you, or has it?
It has. That I think like once I started using Instagram and then I started intentionally sharing my art on Instagram, that was a huge change for me because I was creating regularly before that, but I didn't share it as often. I mean, I wasn't secretive about my artwork. I did go to art school and had a community there, but I wasn't the type to, I wouldn't like go to a party and start like talking about that's not my personality. So it was really helpful to share in this more passive way. That's kind of like just saying, hey, I'm making this. If you're interested, you can check it out. And it's made my art it's given my art a lot more momentum. I'm not totally sure exactly why, but it makes me create more and share more. And it makes my art feel more like it actually exists. And it's not just like mine in my own book that I don't show anyone, So I think it's been healthy for me to share my art.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so show us your art. It's seriously, it's amazing. Like
It is
it's some of my
amazing.
favorite work that I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. That is a very nice compliment. I have a few pages marked out.
Wow.
This is like something I like to do when I don't know what I want to do. I'll just go on Pinterest or something like that and draw whatever I see, kind of with no expectation about what it will end up like. So that's what I did here. And then what's this going to be? Oh, I think this page is a good example of kind of just scribbling and doing anything I want. Sometimes when I don't have a specific idea in mind, it's just really helpful, and I just build on it layer by layer as the days go by. And I find that's really helpful for generating ideas and finding out like color combinations I like or patterns I like, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you're really good at mixing colors.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Got a really good eye for color.
Colors too. Yeah. Sometimes I'll take like drawings I made that otherwise I wouldn't use and I'll cut them up. That's something I like to do a lot is draw on paper, cut it up and collage it, or draw on paper and Xerox it and cut it up and collage it. That's fun for me. But art journaling for me is really just about doing anything I think of and just seeing where it takes me rather than thinking about it and not doing it and then it doesn't take you anywhere. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I think too long about something I'm going to make, it doesn't work. And I have to just like try it out and see where it goes. And it never goes where I think it was going to go. And that's why I consider my process. And I think art journaling for a lot of people is this way. It's an intuitive process. So that just means that like you're going to start based on some kind of inspiration, but then you don't know where it's going to take you. And you just have to be open and allow it to take you wherever it's going to.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've got a question. So what is the difference between making art in your journal and making art for like your show or, you know?
I know. I've thought so much about that. Like, because I kind of like my art journals better and I wish there's just some kind of quality about them that's a little more honest or like a little more immediate. And I try to bring that to my painting. I try really hard. I think that there's something about a book. This is something about a book that is like charged with this kind of like intimate energy that you really can be more authentic when you're working in it. Even if you know you're going to share it, there's just something about the object that makes it so you can take more risks or something. I've just noticed that personally because when I work on canvas, it's almost like even if I don't plan to show anyone this canvas, a canvas is intended to be on a wall and be looked at. And you look at it that way. So working on it, I'm thinking about that the whole time. Oh, this is going to be looked at. This is going to be looked at. And it's just a different vibe, different energy. Yeah.
Oh man, that is so poetic and true. That's what I've always said about art journaling is, you know, it's what you can put away and no one ever has to see, and there's so much freedom in that.
Yeah, it's true. And you can choose after the fact, after the time of creation, whether or not you would like to share it. Sometimes you do, I mean, sometimes you don't. So,
yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh man. So tell us what kind of materials you use because you use a lot of mixed media. So what does that mean?
Right. So I use acrylic paint and acrylic gouache, which is like an opaque watercolor. Those are my favorite because they're very saturated with color and they dry really fast. And I like to work in layers, and so I find the drying fast thing really helps. And I'll often use a hair dryer. So as I'm working, I'll do a layer and then I'll dry it and then I'll be able to paint over it without it mixing in directly into the layer below. And then my other favorite material that I talk about all the time is water-soluble graphite. just a long name for a pencil that you can mix with water. So like I have a special pencil. They cost like $1 at the art store. And I like dip it in water and draw with it. And it's like, it allows you to have a more painterly drawing hand. It kind of feels like a mixture between drawing and painting. So those are my,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have you send us some links to like exactly the materials that you like so that everybody else can go find them.
Sure. Yeah.
That is really cool. I really want to play with one of those pencils now.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
So tell us more. You mentioned this earlier about how you find inspiration.
Well, I guess I've learned that I really have to start making marks or drawing or putting down color or just doing some type of artistic action at all in order to find inspiration. I mean, it does happen to me where sometimes looking at other people's paintings, so looking at the paintings of other artists I like, and I'll see one and I'll just be like, I have to paint right now. That kind of thing will happen, but more often than not, it's just kind of beginning and it's not really a super like lightning bolt strike of inspiration, but once I get started, I will find inspiration then. So I've really found that to be true.
Yeah. I feel like you have such a distinct style. And so, I mean, you went to art school, you're an artist, you're having a show, but can you kind of think back to when you were defining and finding your style? How did that come about?
Yeah. I think it happened pretty naturally, and I think that it would happen naturally for any person at all if they made lots of work, and that's all it is. It's just like I make anything and everything I think of, or I strive to make anything and everything I think of with the time I have, in the day. And then it just kind of happens. I think it's as natural as handwriting, honestly. It's just what the common denominators between all these things I make. So occasionally I'll make something that looks, different. I guess. I mean, there's got to be outliers in all the things I'm making, but it just kind of emerges. But like I said, I do believe that would happen for any person that made lots of work. And if you're new to art, like meaning you haven't prioritized making art before, you might be anticipating understanding your style earlier than it would naturally become evident, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So what would you tell new people? What would your best tips be for new people getting started art journaling? In order to start art journaling or in order to discover a personal style? To start art journaling.
Oh, I always say like do anything that you think of. So if you have any idea at all, whether that's like to draw a certain image you saw or to use a certain color, like you saw a color that struck you, or even if it comes down to an image you saw in a magazine, if you just put that in your art journal in any way that you can manage in that moment, and then just start working from there, I think that's really helpful. So just don't overthink how you're going to start, because as you're working on each spread and each page, it's just going to keep developing. So starting at all is what matters. And then I've also heard this advice, which I've taken and I think is really good. It's just if you can think of nothing else, to just scribble. So just grab any material you're interested in and just scribble. It's amazing like how that can actually lead to another idea or just ease the maybe I feel like a low level anxiety sometimes if I haven't made art recently, because I don't know what it is, but it's like I almost feel kind of guilty about it. And I find even doing that for like a few minutes will make me feel totally better. So I think that's good advice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So one thing in Get Messy is that we have prompts that people can work from. So can you share a little bit about how you use the prompts in Get Messy?
I use prompts very loosely personally, and I've been like that my whole life. Like even in school, I had a hard time doing exactly what I was asked. What I actually love about art, the whole reason I'm attracted to art is because it allows me to be in a more intuitive space where I get to decide what I'm going to do next. And that to me, it feels like ultimate, it feels like freedom to me, like to be able to sit down and just do anything I want. So a prompt might inspire like my very first mark, but after that, I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go, and I try not to limit myself. So, but I think they're really, really helpful for that spark in order to start. And that's what people struggle with the most. So I think they're great for that.
Yeah.
I would really like to know what your process is for art in general. Like, do you set aside a time every day, or do you just wait until the mood strikes you? How do you that? Because I mean, like, art is like involved in every aspect of your life.
Uh-huh.
So it'd be different,
I would love to, like, I love the idea of people that are very disciplined and like they are like going to show up from this time to this time every day. And I always like will set goals like that. Like I'll be like really like thinking I'm going to do this. Like this is how I want to be. But ultimately I don't end up following it forever. But I generally make art each day, whether that is for a few minutes or a few hours. It kind of depends on what I have going on. I usually do it after work. So yeah, that's where it fits into my day. And I've also noticed it really only for a painting session, like in my studio working on paintings on the wall, I don't usually do that for more than 2 hours at a time. So I might do like a few different 2-hour sessions in one day. Like I could do as many as 3 different 2-hour sessions. But it's been helpful for me to realize that, because I used to think, oh, I can't work on my paintings unless I have a whole day free, because that would be like my painting day and I don't have enough time. But I've learned like if I have between half an hour to 2 hours, I can have a good, time in there with my paintings. So.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I think like for me, I need to like say, okay, tomorrow at X time I'm going to make something. Otherwise, it's not going to happen until like also like that like overwhelming anxiety that I need to make something.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm into that. I like that. I think that's.
And I want to be like you.
You say tomorrow I'm gonna work on art at 2:00, and then 2:00. And what if you don't want to? What do you do? Do you do it anyway?
I haven't not wanted to.
Oh,
cool. Yeah, maybe it would be different, like for a chore or something, like cleaning. That does not work.
Yeah. So do you ever feel like that, Cait? Like because it's kind of your job. So I mean, do you ever feel like working in your art journal is a chore and you have to do it, or will you just not do it if you don't feel like it?
If I honestly didn't want to, I wouldn't do it. And that's just, I think, who I am. And I kind of wish I could do things more when I didn't want to do them, because I admire Yeah, I often want to. Yeah.
And so how do you balance out making in your art journal and in your real art? Because I also like can see from following you on Instagram and stuff that you produce a large volume of work. I feel like you're always sharing something new. And so how are you doing so much and balancing out like what needs to go on the wall and what you're...
Yeah, that's a cool question. Like I think I treat my art journal kind of like a warm-up space. So often I'll be working in there, and then I'll catch on to some kind of theme or colors or just any detail about it that I'm like, oh, that would work well in this painting I'm working on. And from that, I'll just stop right there and go over to the painting and do that thing. So it's kind of like all one thing, which reminds me of this concept my mom was telling me about that she learned in a class she took, which is that your creativity is like this flow that's coming through you all the time, and there's no beginning or end to it through your life, but then you find these interesting kind of like snapshots along the way, which like literally on Instagram those are snapshots along the way, but also just like maybe a piece where you're like, okay, I'm done with this is I'm deciding to stop working on this. That's not really a finished thing. It's more just like part of what you were working on and you chose to leave it there. But then you continued afterwards and your artistic flow kept going. So it kind of reminds me of that. So I'm just kind of like having my flow and there's something on the wall and something on the table and I'm just kind of doing it all at one time. And I do, like if I have paint left on my brush and I've worked on a painting and there's still paint on my brush, I'll often open up a page and I'll just like wipe the paint onto the page of my art journal.
Oh, that's genius.
It feels like the same thing. Like the art journal and the paintings on the wall, they feel like the same practice to me.
That's cool.
And so can you look at a page and look at a painting and see where they like connected and went back and forth?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's so much goodness in that.
I know.
A little bit overwhelmed.
I know. Oh my gosh, I kind of want you to be my like art guru. Oh. Yeah. I know. I feel like there's a lot of things I'm gonna need to quote out of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Cait, who inspires you?
Definitely other painters. Do you want to hear names of those painters?
Yeah.
You know how your mind blanks? Because I've even I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, I will know what to say. But now, my absolute favorite painter of all time is Leonora Carrington. She was a woman involved with the Surrealist movement. Her life story is like fascinating, and I'm hoping that one day someone will realize this and make like an HBO like drama that I can watch about this because I'm so into her. But she just does like oil paintings based on like mythology and I don't know, just different imagery that she comes up with. Painters today that I'm really into, I'm trying to think, what is the name? Oh, Alexandra Levasseur. It's French. I don't know how to say her last name. She has been really inspiring me lately. I can't stop like looking at her work online. I'm loving it. So you can look into her. There's so many that I look at online and I'm just like blanking on it right now.
Yeah, you should do a whole blog post about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why that's happening. Another person I'm really into she's like a comic artist, Aiden Cook. It's like Koch is her last name, but it's pronounced Cook. She does some really great work that I've been inspired by. And then I've had just like close friends that have inspired me a lot too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us, Cait. It's been so incredibly inspiring. There's so much good stuff in this episode. And so, yeah, if you guys have questions for Cait, she is on Instagram. What is your Instagram name?
It's Cait_Sherwood, and Cait is spelled Cait. So, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. And so, and Cait will have links to everything about her and lots of pictures of her amazing work. And so you can connect with her that way. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another messy conversation.